Welcome back. We're getting closer and closer to the end. Let's talk about access control. Access control is having restrictions on what authenticated users are allowed to do or not. So this is something that happens after you've given authentication. That is, we know the user, but what do they have access to? See, attackers can exploit these flaws to access unauthorized functionality, data, and other access points. They can see users' accounts, view sensitive files, maybe even modify user data. So you want to make sure that the access control or access rights are in check for your project. Now, with access control, the main idea is this principle of least privilege. And you're going to hear this everywhere. Always give the least amount of privilege possible. Give only enough that people can do their work. And a great example of this is something that we've actually already done. If you remember in our security server that we've been working on, I know it's a little bit messy, so let's just clean it up for now. I'm going to remove this. And remember the CORS that I said we're going to get back to and we're going to talk about? Well, CORS is very important for security and especially access control. Let's show you what happens when we don't use CORS. So I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to save and then go back to our Make Me Secure playground over here. And let's type something. I'm typing something and then let's look at the console as I submit. We get some errors saying that pass access control, no access control to allow origin. What does that mean? It says set request mode to no CORS to fetch the resources. All right. CORS stands for Cross Origin Resource Sharing. I know all these names don't really make sense at the beginning, but let me simplify that. All it's saying is I don't have access for you to access this server. You see, if we just created servers like this and just left it without CORS, well, then anybody can access them. Maybe this server is only meant to be by myself for my special purposes. But if I have random people accessing this server, utilizing the machine and using up resources, that could cost me a lot of money. And for security reason, we don't want to just give access to anybody to these endpoints. I mean, even just for this entire server, maybe this secret endpoint, we only want a certain domain or a certain website to actually be able to send secrets. We don't want bad people to just be able to send secrets. We do this by adding CORS. And by adding CORS, I'm saying, just let this cross-origin resource sharing happen. I don't mind at all. And if I refresh here, and I send something, all right, it's working fine. That's great. But that's not really good. I mean, we want the principle of least privilege. That is, we want to give the least amount of access to make our apps work. And in our case, we don't want to just give access to everybody. We want to give access to only people that we trust. So CORS in their documentation, if you go to their NPM package, actually has some really, really good documentation and code snippets that you can use. But let me show you one of them. If I copy and paste this from their documentation, they essentially have something called CORS options. And these are just options that we give that we check this whitelist. That is the good list of domains that we're giving access to hit our endpoints in our server. And CORS option just has an origin function that checks this whitelist. And all we need to do is add this CORS options as a parameter. So now if I save this and go back to my website, let's refresh, and I type something. No. You're none of those websites that we whitelisted. We're not going to let you in. Awesome. So let's give access just to us. Right now, I just have it locally running, as you can see on my file. But on GitHub over here, which you have access to as well, I've put it up on GitHub pages. So I have a nice URL. So let's say that we want my anegoe.github.io to have access so that we can send information. Well, let's open up the console to test the case where we don't have permission. Yep, we get that error. And let's add this to the whitelist. All right, I'm saving this. And going back, let's refresh just to have a clean slate. I'm going to type something. Boom, we have access. No issues here. We've actually received, look at that. We've actually received this user input. Very, very cool. Now, this is one principle in access control, but it can apply to anything, to administrative privileges, to database access, to anything. The main idea is this one line, principle of least privilege. Never give more privilege than you need to, only just the right amount. So that way we give less attack points to bad people. All right, that's it for now. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.